Wow. Achat, shtayim, shalosh. Oh, shalom, my friends, shalom, my enemies. This is your old pal, Rabbi Sol Solomon, founder and spiritual leader of Temple Sons of Bitches in Great Neck, New York. And I am thrilled and delighted and excited, as you can see they are too, with some Denver music legends, ladies and gentlemen, of the punk comedy-ish scene. We're looking and talking to Little Fyodor and Babushka, who make very interesting, fun, catchy, and wild music. And also they're pretty fun, interesting people, as you can see for yourselves. I have a bunch of questions for them. They have been around for almost 30 years doing their thing. He was in a band called Walls of Genius for a while that morphed into Little Fyodor. Did you even know that the Apples in Stereo opened for these guys? So welcome, shalom to you! How you doing?
Hi. Howdy there, Rabbi.
Shalom.
Rabbi Dave. And we opened, the Apples opened for Little Fyodor and Babushka, the very first bona fide show they ever did at a coffee house that I asked them to play for. They were the first of 3 bands that we were headlining that day.
Oh,
So, not that I'm bragging or anything, but I guess you would too, wouldn't you?
Of course I brag.
They should brag about playing with us.
Well,
I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
Well, didn't they take you on tour with them at one point?
No. Oh, yeah, no, they did. They did.
Yeah.
That was before that was sort of on the cusp of their newfound popularity. They were amazed at how many people showed up for those gigs in San Francisco and in L.A. So it was quite an eye-opener for all of them, but all of us. And yes, we did play with them in L.A. and San Francisco, and that was fun. It was kind of a bad audience for us in a way.
It was fun for them.
They had fun.
Yeah.
And we had fun, hanging out with them and just seeing the whole scene and stuff. But it was the burgeoning audience that they were attracting wasn't really that good for us. Of course, it's hard to find an audience that's good for us because that's a very strange audience.
But they're all lucky to see us anyway.
They are.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, but the problem is audiences can't usually get to see you anymore because I thought you guys were taking sort of a hiatus.
It's an indefinite hiatus.
Yes.
It's got an indefinite endpoint. It could be tomorrow. It could be never.
Oh.
We don't know.
We're open to offers. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I have an
Of
indefinite...
limbs or whatever.
I admit I have an indefinite hiatal hernia, which has been killing me.
We herniate our hiatus occasionally. We did that twice this year.
Oh, those are quick hiati. You must have... Because, no, you take a benefit, and I have to ask about this, because I just find this rather amusing. You did a benefit for somebody with Crohn's disease about a week or two ago. Am I right?
Yes. I think that matches with reality as best as I can tell. Yes.
But in this benefit for people with Crohn's disease, you were serving hot dogs and donuts. Wouldn't that sort of be isn't that giving people Crohn's disease?
I don't know. Has that been demonstrated that eating hot dogs and donuts will lead to Crohn's disease? I don't know about that.
I'm a Crohn, and I eat hot dogs and donuts, so yeah, I think it does.
Whether she's diseased is a more open question.
That's true. This is kind of the colitis diet, ladies and gentlemen. But so let me ask, how did you guys, because you were in music, Fyodor was in music years, I guess, before Babushka was.
Yes, a few years before, with the band called Walls of Genius.
That's right, and you came, it was an out there band. We're talking about the middle of the 1980s, way out there. There's YouTube footage of this man in this band from 1985, and you're doing some stuff, and then you come out with what on your head? Do you remember?
Well, there was various things. At one point, I was wearing kind of a bonnet that had kind of like tassels hanging down on the side. Another time, I think I was wearing a Felix the Cat hat, baseball cap.
You wore a bird cage.
I wore
that.
Oh yes, I wore a bird cage. That's true.
Yes, it's true.
It's just another of my various, head apparel, so it was
Put
no
your
big
brain
deal
in a
to me.
birdcage.
Are there meanings?
Well, my brain's always in a birdcage, not always my head.
Ours all, but is there meaning when you choose something to do for a prop or a costume, or is it just, oh, that's weird and funny, I think I'll do that?
You're asking me if I think about these things.
Secret meanings.
Oh, okay.
A secret. The
Well,
meaning is secret.
I think the best art is gut level, where you don't think about it very much. At the same time, I'm sure it all represents something. How can it not?
Well, in the past 30 years, do you look at what you were doing 20 years ago and go, oh, I know why I did that now. There was something
figured
dramatic.
it out.
Yeah.
Figured it out later. I'm sure I always have different perspectives on things from, one day to another, one decade to another, one lifetime to another. It's hard to avoid.
Well, just put it in front of people and leave it up to them to figure it out.
Ultimately, it is for other people to figure out. I mean, I have my own ideas of what I'm thinking about when I do it, but ultimately, it's up to them. I mean, I put it out there. I don't believe in saying, oh, they're getting it wrong because it's not what I was thinking. But they get it whatever way they get it. It's up to them. I can't do anything about that.
And
You get it from both ends.
They will. They do.
If they're from Harvey Weinstein, they will. But anyway, I don't know what that means.
Oh, it's he.
Just a little joke there. So let me also ask you, before we, pardon me, get to your meeting, what happened with Walls of Genius? Well, first of all, the other two fellas who were involved, they're alive? Are they still in music? What are they doing?
Yes, they are alive.
Yeah.
They are alive, and they still making
Call
music.
that a life.
Oh, yeah. But, Babushka's, she has a certain point of view on this. But we've even done Walls of Genius reunions in the last several years. We're almost, there's like 4 or 5 or 6 reunions that we've done. In fact, I put one in that little pile of stuff. And we've got another one coming up soon that we're hoping will see the light of day in somewhere in the new year. So they're still alive. They're still making music. One of them doesn't make a real lot of music if it's not Walls of Genius, and the other is involved with all sorts of folk and rock bands in Boulder, Colorado.
Oh, very nice. That's one of the reasons we can have them here. We're in Greeley. They are Denver-based and have been all your careers. Am I right?
Boulder or Denver.
Boulder or Denver, but Colorado as opposed to New York.
Yes.
Coming west at some point. Yeah.
I did write my first couple of Little Fyodor songs while still in Charlottesville, Virginia, and so the seeds were in Charlottesville, and I was first called Little Fyodor by Evan Cantor, who's in Walls of Genius, while I was before moving out here. So it was their seeds were just kind of glimmering, kind of seed glimmer, and when I was back in Virginia, where I went to college and learned about Dostoevsky.
Oh, again, it was a particular novel of his, or just you love his writing in general, and you thought, I'm going to be Little Fyodor Dostoevsky. Was that it?
Yeah, all of that. It was, Notes from Underground is what really turned my head around. And then, read a few of other things in 2 different classes in college. Got halfway through the Brothers Karamazov, but I think I get the idea.
You have to be Christian to get
he
that
murders
one,
the guy and stuff.
Jews,
that's
Jews
one way to
get
look
it.
at it.
Right, yeah. So, and also, not leaving out, of course, Babushka, around, I guess, the early 1980s, had you been friends, or how did you meet? Excuse me.
I was pushing my cart down an alley. I was stuck in a puddle, and Fyodor ran over and yanked the cart out of the puddle, and I was forever beholden to him after that.
It was the only nice thing I was ever aware of doing in my life. Or at least the only time that it was ever appreciated.
Well, très galant, very, very gentlemanly of you. Indeed.
Well, thank you.
Babushka, had you played keyboard before, or just taken lessons? Or?
Yeah, I was forced to take lessons.
From a horrible old woman and
oh, yeah.
Mrs.
Yeah, they
Havisham
whipped me into shape.
Okay.
And I couldn't stop after that.
It happens to all of us, too. So, when did you realize that you could make beautiful music together, in a manner of speaking?
We first played together in 1986, shortly after Walls of Genius broke up in a warehouse in Denver.
Is that warehouse still around, or did Hickenlooper turn it into a brewery?
Yeah, you got it. I think. I think you got the idea.
It was Lodo before it was Lodo.
Yeah.
3 dodos here, basically.
So it was just low at the time. There wasn't any dough yet.
That's good. Thank you. So, did you realize there was a kinship? How much did you rehearse? Was it kind of like, and then, it's one thing for friends to rehearse and do a song or two, but you guys realized that you would be a team.
We made it an act.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we realized that we had a common bond. Babushka took some old country type pity on me and decided to be
some serious guidance.
Yes,
Let's just say that.
Yeah, she said it. I'll say it. Yeah, I needed some serious guidance, and so we joined forces and became Little Fyodor and Babushka, and played in various coffee houses. We played as a duo for like about the next 20 years until finally taking on a full band. Well, actually, we had a bass player here and there in that time, but mostly as a duo, and then we finally took on a bass player and a drummer in about 2005 or 6.
So how would you describe your music physically into the punk genre, into punk comedy? What genre does it fit, if it fits in any?
It fits in the Little Fyodor in the bathtub genre.
Okay, I like that.
Yes.
So,
well, look, I'm influenced by the early punk movement. So that's an important thing to me. Now, whether or not it really is that, I don't know if I can really say. I don't know if it's really up to me to say.
It's a geriatric genre for me.
Really?
But pretty much everything.
She was geriatric when it was new.
I was geriatric before geriatric was cool.
Was there an evolution, or were you instantly Babushka? Or was it like Fyodor and...
There's a Babushka essence around every one of us. If you just look for it, you can find it and tap into it if you dare.
I don't dare. No,
most people don't dare. I couldn't help it.
Well, what is the essence of Babushka-ing?
The essence of Babushka-ing is speaking your mind.
Oh, well,
and not worrying about whether it's attractive or not. Even though you want to be attractive, you don't worry about whether it's attractive.
That's kind of like punk rockers, except they are trying to be attractive.
They're trying
except for me.
Have their cake and eat it too, and that's what life's all about, as far as I'm concerned.
We all try to do that.
Now, speaking of speaking your mind, Babushka, you have a political bent. And we're all bent here, but very specifically, there are certain issues that you take issue with.
Yeah, especially there's a lot of issues I take issue with.
Such as?
Well, there's this thing called fracking, and you have a lot of it in Greeley, and it's being done by bad people to other people who don't deserve it. And they ought to watch out for it because it's next to your school and it's next to your home and it puts out toxic fumes and it jeopardizes our air and it's ugly and nasty and we ought to fight back and not take it lying down. That's my opinion.
Or even singing that. But hold on, let me play devil's advocate or Satan's advocate, as white people would say. And your people too, come to think of it. But what do you say to the oil companies that say it's safe, we're not destroying the water, there isn't crap going into the air, we're making it as safe as possible, and we're creating a tremendous amount of oil so we don't have to rely on the Arabs and have oil at $5 a gallon. What do you say to that?
Well, first of all, about it being safe, we have these things called regulations, and they're not enforced very well, but they are enforced occasionally, and whenever they are, there's a violation issued, and that usually involves the release of some terrible toxins right into people's faces, like just recently at Aspen Ridge in Erie, the state regulator observed a big cloud of nasty VOC toxins moving to children's faces at the Aspen Ridge Academy just 75 feet away, and they told those drillers they had to shut down. But they didn't stay shut down permanently, and they're not always there to watch them. So guess what? There's going to be another cloud, and they admit and they have regulations to regulate all the toxins, but they don't have enough people. They have under 50 inspectors for over 50,000 wells in Colorado. There's no way they could watch all of this, and it is routine to spill and emit toxic gases into the air, and that's just a normal thing.
Well, it's kind of funny. On this radio program, we used to do that. Dave, the host of the program, used to do this column in the Greeley Tribune, and they would talk about it on the air, called the Spill Report. Have you seen this? In every issue of the Greeley Tribune, or once a week, 5 gallons spilled here, somewhere between 5 and 100 gallons spilled there, all across Weld County. And it was funny it was so repetitious.
Right.
Because there'd be 20 spills every fucking week. I mean, you should pardon my French, I know.
Oh, my God, that was very naughty, but it was appropriate, and I can understand why you'd lose your cool discussing this terrible situation of spewing toxins into the air near homes.
Well, that's what they say about my sermons. But also, look at what happened with Keyspan. Everybody's protesting Keyspan. It's not good. They say, oh, it's no problem. It's Canada. It's safe. 210,000 gallons all over the place.
Spills are a routine part of oil and gas production and transportation. You do not want to be near these facilities that spill routinely. It is not unusual. It is normal. They will spill and they will emit gases into the air. They're dangerous to breathe, and it's unacceptable.
Spills and gases.
We need to fight back.
It's like me on a Sunday morning, basically.
Spills and gases Sunday morning. Well, yeah, every day.
Are you also political, Fyodor, or are you just
not really? Babushka has her own trip. I mean, Babushka has her own trip about this. This is something that she does. It just drives her nuts.
I'm uptight about it. I admit it.
She could never, imagine such things, having come from the old country where she was a peasant in tune with the environment and nature.
Well, what was her old country, by the way, Babs?
Hungary.
Hungary.
Yes.
Well, I brought cake if you're hungry later, but
Oh, you're such a kidder.
Comedy there. Yeah. So, and what is are you Colorado natives? Or were you said you were in Virginia?
I grew up in New Jersey.
I can vouch. Explains a whole lot.
And I know. And I've spread my New Jersey disease out here because I had to get away from the thick of that. I went to school in Virginia, and that was kind of like a half step, and then I had to get further away from it all. And I came out here, and now, of course, it's just springing up all around me now. But
the crap.
Well, the roots kind of like just start seeping in, and you get kind of stuck.
Now, can I ask, are you able to devote, and this is a question for both of you, your entire lives to music, or do you have day jobs? How do you get by?
I get by the skin of my scrotum. But
nobody wants to hear about your scrotum, Fyodor.
Yeah.
I've told you that many times.
Not even me.
And here you go again, talking about it again.
I mean, you don't have to say where you work, but are you
I'm actually a bookkeeper. I'm a petty bourgeois bookkeeper for a nonprofit.
Oh,
it's just kind of like totally mellow and nondescript, but we do good things. We help people. So
nonprofit is good. I mean, I'm proud of you. I think that's wonderful. And you, Babushka?
I make borscht.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, your borscht can't be beat.
My borscht can't be beat. Babushka's borscht.
It's fully beat already.
Oh, there's a meat beating joke in there, but I'm not going to go there. No,
what do you mean?
Thanks, Moigle.
So, also, let me ask you then, do you have like a favorite, I just think this is also for both of you, in your many years of performing, a favorite time or two, like the most exciting, most thrilling, most meaningful concerts or performances that you've been at?
Well, there was the time we played for the Church of the Subgenius.
And that would be?
And the Church of the Subgenius, They're the Church of the Subgenius. There's no more specific way to describe them other than you can look them up. They're sometimes called a joke religion, but they take it very seriously, I'll have you know.
It's not a good joke unless you take it seriously. That's
right.
Very good, yes.
And Reverend Ivan Stang has been leading the Church of the Subgenius since 1980. You might have seen their icon, Bob. He's a piece of 1950s.
He's a piece of what?
A piece of 50s clip art with a pipe hanging out of his mouth and a big grin, like he just made the sale of the year.
All hail Bob!
Hail
Praise Bob!
Praise Bob!
Praise Bob!
Praise
There's
Bob!
a bridge named Bob in Colorado.
Really?
Yes, there is.
The Bob Bridge?
There's a Bob Bridge.
Bob is a bridge.
If they expand it, it'll be a Robert Bridge eventually, I guess. So then why was that so
That's the
special?
formal name.
That was a special night for you because you believe in the church, or just because it was a great audience, or what?
The audience went ape shit.
Oh, caca. Well, I use the F word. You can use the S word. That's totally fine.
There you go.
Ape
Well,
league.
but they were really into it. They really got it. They appreciated our alternative point of view and the fact that we were expunging the last bits of humanity and in all of its pathetic insanity.
And another classic moment from the 25, 30 years that you've been at this? 9505, yeah, 30 plus years.
Maybe the time we opened up for the band Negative Land in Long Beach, California. And it was the last show of the tour we were doing with them. And every other show, the audience was kind of like fair to middling for us. But as soon as we stepped on stage in Long Beach, they loved us.
They don't have enough grit there. We gave them the grit they wanted.
They cheered us like heroes from the start. And then we met members of the audience later who are friends to this day, and one of whom later joined Negative Land. And Tim Maloney, he's sent me his own music, and that I've played on my radio show.
My gosh, we have so much to talk about with Little Fyodor and Babushka. Right, I want to get to the radio show, but also got to ask the reverse thing of, besides this, have you had hell gigs?
Bad gigs?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Such as?
Dallas.
What
was wrong? Well,
Dallas was almost the end.
What happened? And how long ago?
Early 2000s.
Yeah, something like that.
And it was terrible because 3 people and they were drunk and they hated Jews, or what was the?
That would have been nice.
No, why was it horrible?
Well, basically, there was nobody in the audience other than the other band and the waitstaff.
When we were lucky.
Well,
yes,
It kind of came and went.
Yeah. Any other funny hell gigs, maybe, or
how about when that punk band tried to take over the drums behind us? He was starting to play. And I almost kicked him in the balls. I tried, but I kind of missed a little bit.
Boy, Babs, my goodness, you used the B word there.
But
that was actually kind of satisfying. I'm not sure that was the worst gig, but yeah.
He got the message.
He got the message. Yeah, it was a little nip and tuck there for a while, but
he almost got nipped and tucked.
I almost gave him a good tucking.
We are tucking in here with Babs and Little Fyodor, and especially I want to talk to you because, this radio program, Dave's Gone By, which is hosted by Dave Lefkowitz, my good friend, has been on the air for 15 years, first on Long Island and now out here in Colorado. And as you can see, it is the height of Howard Sternish splendor that we do here. But you have had a very long-running radio program yourself. On what station? What was the show about? And why did you stop doing it a couple of months ago?
It was called Under the Floorboards, which is a name that started several months into the actual start of the broadcast, which I believe was in 1982. And the last show I did was in September of this year, so that's 35 years. Awesome. I've dropped off of the regular rotation because I've just been doing it so damn long.
Well, what were you doing in this program? You discover new music or alternative outside of music, or what was the point of the show?
It was a show for the insects of society. By that I mean for people who didn't look at things or want things the normal way that other people looked at them and wanted them. It was experimental music, but it was also weirdo music, anything that just wasn't right.
not designed for commercial consumption necessarily.
I hear you. So here's the question, though. I can see after 35 years doing it. So was it a thing of you have to put in so many hours a week as a bookkeeper, then you have to deal with having a band and everything involved in that. And then also, if you're hosting a show involving weird and unheard music, how many hours a week did you have to spend listening to?
Hey, Gavolt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a major part of it. It was getting to be a pain in the ass. And it was always a pain in the ass. But after a while, it kind of builds up so that the...
ass pain can only be tolerated for so long.
Yeah, exactly.
So were there any bands, though, that you found riotously uncommercial, and yet 20 years after you started playing them, they are notable now? We know them?
Well, when I first encountered Sonic Youth,
oh my God,
for some reason I had the thought, I mean, I could have thought about this about so many things that I encountered, but for some reason I really thought about Sonic Youth. Who will ever listen to this? Why are they even putting this out? I mean, it was just one of those weird questions that, like, boiled into my brain for no reason. It's like, what do they expect to get out of this? And oddly, that particular band actually made it.
Yeah,
I mean,
huge. I mean,
yeah.
So you're not good at picking winners?
No, I'm
losers.
I'm kind of I pick losers basically.
Well, who are some of the other great losers that if we go on YouTube or into archives of are archives of your show available, by the way?
Yes, they are. Not for all the 35 years by any means, but I think for the last several years, the KGNU will still have the archives saved, but I really don't pay attention to exactly how far back they go. I just do it, and they do with it as they will.
Now, were any bands or artists, they don't have to be a band, it could be a single artist, that you discovered for yourself, maybe they never got famous, but you think, oh, these guys are great, either because they're way out there or they're surprisingly accessible, but they're still not commercial hits?
I'm sure there's something. There's a band from Germany called Comics that did really catchy, wonderful stuff that amidst to their kind of crazier stuff, but even their crazier stuff sounded like cartoon music. So if they had really pursued a career, they might have been able to make it. Of course, catchy to me is almost like more what was catchy in the 60s or something. Now pop artists have to sound real sincere and stuff like
Danielle Dax and Amy DeNio and
those are good examples.
Residents.
Yeah.
Oh, the Resident. Okay, okay, yeah. No, that noise image, that's what my prostate sounds like in the morning, I gotta tell you. Now, I want to talk a bit more about the creation of music and how you sound and the lyrics that you write and what they're based on, but maybe it's time we should hear some Fyodor and Babushka music, and then we'll talk a little more after we hear some music. But you have a set that you're going to do for us, yes?
haha.
So
We
let's
gotcha.
stop tape, and then we're going to listen to some music live. So I can